Imagine turning 11 years old, blowing out candles, hearing your parents sing to you, and before the sun comes up, you're in handcuffs. Your father is dead, and you're charged with homicide over a Nintendo Switch. Pause. Context first, because context matters. January 13th, 2026. Duncannon, Pennsylvania. Clayton Dietz had just turned 11 years old. Adopted at around 3 years old by Douglas and Jillian Dietz. By all public accounts, a normal family night. They celebrated just after midnight, sang happy birthday, went to sleep. At 3:20 a.m., police arrived. Douglas Dietz, 42, was found dead from a single gunshot wound to the head while asleep in bed. Authorities allege that earlier that night, Clayton's father took away his Nintendo Switch and told him to go to sleep. That's standard parenting. But here's where people oversimplify. At 11 years old, the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for impulse control, consequence forecasting, long-term reasoning, is still developing. It won't fully mature until the mid-20s. At that age, anger doesn't feel temporary. It feels permanent. It feels consuming. It feels like injustice. Police say Clayton was upset, angry, and went looking for the console. Instead, investigators say he found a key. That key opened a gun safe. Inside was a revolver. Now slow that down. Anger, access, opportunity. That triangle changes everything. Authorities allege he unlocked the safe, retrieved the firearm, loaded it, walked into his parents' bedroom, and fired one shot at his father while he slept. One shot. Officers reported hearing him say words like, "Daddy's dead," and "I killed Daddy." Now here's the uncomfortable tension. On one hand, he's 11, a child, a brain still wiring itself together, a nervous system that reacts before it reflects. On the other hand, this involved steps, intentional movements, unlocking, loading, walking, a trigger pull. So what do we call that? Impulse? Intent? Both? Under Pennsylvania law, homicide cases automatically begin in adult court, even for someone this young, unless a judge agrees to move it to juvenile court. His defense is pushing for rehabilitation over punishment. And this is where society fractures. Because we all agree an 11-year-old can't drive, vote, sign legal contracts, buy alcohol. Because we say they don't fully understand consequences. But when tragedy hits, we suddenly debate whether they should be treated like adults. Context first. Because context matters. This isn't about demonizing a video game. It's about firearm storage. It's about emotional regulation in children. It's about what happens when access meets a moment of rage. A father is gone. A child's life is permanently altered. And a split-second emotional decision will ripple for decades. So I'm asking you, genuinely, do we prioritize rehabilitation because he's 11, or accountability because a life was taken? Where does childhood end when the consequences are adult? Like, subscribe, follow, because we don't just react to headlines, we break them down. Context first.